and no one necessarily tracked you. No one like followed you. You could go, there's a way to go certain, you don't have to go through the major airports because the majority of the airspace is uncontrolled airspace.
You were showing me that map once where
Yeah.
if you just fly you stay away from the big cities, basically.
Yeah, you stay away from the big cities. So you can only go up, no more than 18,000 feet, but you can go up to 18,000 feet. But no one tracked it. No one knew where you were. No one did anything. And it was a sense of freedom. You know what I mean? Guess what?
Gone.
Check. Gone.
That's nuts.
And if you're caught, so I went to church yesterday, and a good friend of mine is in charge of the aviation in Gwinnett County. He's the captain in charge of it, the team of pilots that they have. They got planes and helicopters and stuff like that. I was talking to him yesterday, and I go, hey, I finally decided I'm going to finish my license here. I'm going to try to finish it in the next 2 weeks. He goes, oh, that's awesome. He goes, you want to hear something funny? I said, yep. He goes, yeah, I was called by, I probably shouldn't even tell. You know what? I can't tell the rest of that story because I don't know if it's been released yet. But he worked with Homeland Security. And I forget, he always tells me stuff that I'm not supposed to know. And he works with Homeland Security all the time. And he just like, yeah, look, this went down. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? But they were able to track somebody and they didn't even know it. That's what is even scarier. And they were able to track somebody. And I'm just going to say people ended up in handcuffs and arrested. And
that's one of those double-edged swords. There's a good side of that, but it's just another thing that feels like a freedom taken away.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you probably didn't even know that you could fly to New York. I mean, as long as you're not doing anything international, they don't care. And you're not. But here's the funny part of it. You're not talking to a controller. You're not talking to anybody. You see what I mean?
You're not even talking to air traffic control?
Yeah, as you're flying, you're not talking to anybody, but it's being recorded. It's like a tracking device on your plane, on your car. And you have to have it. You cannot take it off.
Yeah, that's going to be next. Is they're going to...
And how about this one? You're right, it is, because this is probably the test of it. If you have a problem, there was a 78-year-old flight instructor, and she's an FAA inspector, so she would give check rides for people. She just lost her license because during COVID, nobody's on the roads, nobody's doing anything. So she's out someplace in the West, and she flew under a bridge. Well, right before she flew under the bridge, she turned off that tracking device.
Oh, so just for turning it off.
Yep.
They're yanking it.
And there was a camera on the bridge. Now think about this. There's a camera on a bridge pointed below to get any planes that do this. And she's the poor dumb son of a bitch that lost her license. 78, she's had it for 50 years.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm sure a part of her died when she lost it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's brutal.
Isn't that insane?
How big are these bridges that people are flying under the bridge?
Oh, they're huge. Oh, they're awesome. It's especially in Letchworth State Park when the leaves change. You can go down into the gorge. Oh, it is amazing. I mean, you're talking,
or so
500 feet. 500 feet. I'm sure it's considered dangerous, but it's not that dangerous,
Everything's dangerous.
Yeah, but dude, it is, it's just one of those cool things you do, and not no more,
One less thing. If they start tracking my driving, I'm going to quit driving.
I mean, what do they want to know? You going to the store or to get food? Which restaurant?
Well, think about it. They could track your speed. They could just start getting speeding tickets every day.
Well, they were doing that in some spots. You know that, right?
They had cameras in Naples and they took them down. Everybody was so pissed.
No, so was it to give a speeding ticket?
Yeah, they had cameras at
Yeah.
the stoplight, at the red lights.
Oh no. So in some place, and I don't know where it was, they would actually, if you were speeding, you got a ticket through the camera system.
Yeah, that's
It's coming.
everybody speeds. So then they got to raise all the speed limits.
So okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about Tesla first. I think it was Wednesday. It might have been Tuesday or Wednesday. Like a doctor and some professionals were driving along in their car, a Tesla, I don't know which model or anything like that, and something happened, and a battery exploded. Don't know why. I'm not saying I don't know why. It caught on fire, right? No big deal, but it exploded, and the fire was so hot that it vaporized the two people inside the car.
Whoa.
The fire was so bad that the fire department had to call Tesla to say, hey, how do we put this fire out? Which chemicals? Because chemicals we're using will not work.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that insane? And everybody loves the Tesla and the self-driving cars, which, I do too, don't get me wrong. But
I didn't even hear about that one.
Yeah, I know. No one has. They're trying to hide it. There's a guy named, and if people want to understand self-driving, I have looked into self-driving. I understand self-driving probably better than most. You need to go YouTube a guy named George Holtz. And I think it's spelled Hoyt, George Holtz. And he's a younger kid. I think he just turned 30. Great kid. I don't know why. I just love listening to him. And he's a righteous dude. But he's a programmer, and he actually worked for, he's either Google or Microsoft in their division. And he's like, guys, you're doing this all wrong. We don't want a self-driving car because what does they say? Not having money is the invention of all things.
Right.
When you don't have money, you think outside the box. And so, this guy hasn't raised much money, and he's not a publicly traded company. His company's called Comma. It's called Comma IO, IQ or something like Comma IQ.
Oh, I bet it's IO is the tech extension.
Is it IO? Okay. So what he's done is he's broken apart phones, old smartphones, and he's made these phones to go right underneath your mirror, and it visualizes you that you're paying attention, and then it visualizes the road, and it's able to predict the road, and it processes it and keeps your car in line on the road and stuff of that nature. And we're talking, I think they said they just went over like 20 million miles driven now. But the way that Tesla and all these other guys do it is through satellite GPS. Okay, so you got all these satellites up in the orbit, locating this car, and his is doing real-time tracking of his car without a satellite uplink because he can't afford it. You know what I mean? He has a satellite, he has a cell service uplink. And what's amazing though is he is so far ahead everybody else because of what he's doing. He's just using real driver information and tracking the cars. And it was really neat because they had one in Germany, and got really bad with the traffic, and it did really well. And I mean, these are isolated incidents, but my point of this is he has a technology that he might have spent 10 or 15 million dollars, maybe even more. Hang on a second. Sorry. So anyway, so I don't know where I was, and but he spent no money. The other company, he was telling me he went to some, they have conventions and stuff like that, and he's listening to these budgets, billions and billions and billions of dollars, and it's like, why are you spending this?
That's because they have it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know, Rob, I don't know if you remember, we talked last week about how much money these guys have.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because he's just in San Diego, and I encourage anybody to go look him up if you like Tesla, and why We should start calling Tesla the big fail, because at some point in time, these subsidies, which the only reason Tesla makes money is because of Bitcoin and subsidies. That's it, guys. You know, if I mean, don't get me wrong, Tesla's cool and it's awesome, but and look at, they just sold out of all their cars. Did you hear about that?
Well, I think this stupid chip shortage is killing everybody.
Oh yeah.
It's that boggles my mind that we've allowed a worldwide chip shortage, so we can't make cars anymore. It's ridiculous.
I don't think it's as bad as everybody's making it sound, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure it's not. It never is. Those are always hyped up beyond belief.
Hang on again, sorry. Bitcoin electric is like more electric than the whole country of Sweden. They came up with like Sweden, all these other little countries, right?
I was gonna say Sweden's a tiny country.
I know. So, so they're gonna probably form a committee here.
So what they have to do, to be fair, they can't compare it to the output of another country. Compare it to the output of another industry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How much energy does it use compared to how much the electrical vehicle car makers use?
Right.
That would be a fair comparison. And if it's like, oh, if they're going to find out, by the way, it's probably the same or less. So are electrical vehicles bad because they take a lot of energy to make?
Don't apply common sense here, brother. That's not part of the talking point.
And if she knew what the hell she was talking, pardon my French, if she knew what the heck she was talking about, all the North American miners have gone green. They're all hydroelectric and other green forms of, so they're using excess energy that's getting wasted. They've been extremely innovative in how they mine these coins, being ultra sensitive. 5 years ago, her conversation was right. They were just using energy and going, but they've almost totally gotten off of traditional energy.
Speaking of gotten off, did you hear about that guy that was on a Zoom call that was working one out?
No way.
Yeah, he was on a Zoom call with like
For
40
work?
people. I think it was teachers. It was a whole bunch of teachers. And he was just sitting,
This
and then
is
he was
great.
stupid enough to admit it. You can't see. I mean, you know what I mean? It was off camera. Sorry, Tom, you really turned me on. Can you stand up real quick and turn around? I was just like, what is this world coming to?
That's probably not the first time.
Well, but his defense was, no one said he couldn't do it.
If somebody had
Is that
told
wrong?
me,
If somebody would have told me, I'm gonna have to plead ignorance here because no one said that I can't do it.
was that wrong?
Is that wrong? I mean, it wasn't on camera. I could see if it was on camera, hey, we're crossing the line, but we're not on camera. So,
This is inappropriate work behavior.
well, he wasn't at work. Up here looks fine. He's at work. Down below, wasn't
Hey,
at work.
that's like half the people on these Zoom calls are in their pajamas or their boxers because you can't tell. Whatever. Pants
Yeah.
are dead. All you need is a nice shirt.
Yeah, I know. Shorts and a shirt. So, man, have you been watching Ethereum?
Ethereum's
Remember, I
on
said it at
fire.
$1,800. Remember, I said, man, I need to go get. And then I tried to transfer money, and it's such an aggravation. I was talking to some kid at Lumber Liquidators, and I'm telling him, we're talking about different things, and he's like, yeah, I use Coinbase to buy stuff, and I transferred money from my account, nothing huge, and he goes, and I'd have an error every single time I transferred it, and then it took all three of them, even though all three of them said there was an error. They took all three of the deposits. He goes, I bounced checks, it was a nightmare. And then, how about this? I was talking to him. I specifically went there yesterday because we were talking about Doge, and he bought a whole bunch of Doge. And guess which platform he also uses? He uses Robinhood. Guess what happened?
Oh,
He got hammered.
Wow.
So he
if he
said
bought
right
Doge,
before,
see, he
Yeah,
should have
right
watched my video. I told everybody dump Doge before Saturday Night
no,
Live.
it's even worse than that. He did.
Oh, he
dumped
did?
it. He did at 11 o'clock. The order never went through.
Oh man.
He said they like locked him out. So
Unbelievable.
here's Robinhood, a platform for the people,
Right.
rich people, by the hedge funds, right? And so I guarantee their orders went through. They're screwed. Robinhood, I'm going to tell you right now, Robinhood is going to be sued again over this. He said he lost thousands of dollars, and he didn't even have thousands of dollars to lose.
Robinhood has a problem because from time to time, and I'm not even really trading on Robinhood. I just use it to check. It's got the price, the up to date exact real time price of Dogecoin and that kind of stuff. So I use it to check those. And all the time I see little warnings like, sorry, you can't trade Bitcoin right now for the next 30 minutes. We're the system, blah, blah, blah. That's not really a good trading platform. If there are times that you can't trade your stuff, that's got to be up. They got to have 99.99% coverage if you're going to be an online trading platform. And never mind Coinbase.
Well, can you imagine if this was a currency?
Oh yeah.
It's not a currency. They don't treat it as a currency, so that's probably how they get away with it.
Coinbase, and Coinbase is probably one of the better ones because they were able, they're the most used. They went public, and still there's all the problems with them. And they don't even do Dogecoin yet.
Another interesting thing about Bitcoin is now they're tracking where the Bitcoin. Did you hear about this poor son of a bitch who tried to kill his wife with Bitcoin?
No. He tried to what?
Kill his wife. He tried to. So I guess it's a known website. Some like you can go and hire a hitman.
Wow.
So what I am thinking, I'm going to defer a little bit with my brain. And so he went and hired a person from a black site to list and kill his hitman site. Okay, so just let me play like Sneaky George. I'm the government. I'm looking for nefarious activities, and I go and I pose as a person, as a hitman on these sites. How hard would that be, you dumbasses?
Right.
I mean, that's the simplest thing out there. So
anybody who hires a hitman to kill their spouse deserves whatever they get.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying that. It's just my whole point though is they were able to track the Bitcoin, and they haven't explained how they were able to track it. But
this is the big mystery of Bitcoin. You bring up a point that we're gonna find out. They say, "Oh, it's anonymous. It's so anonymous. It's a problem. It's a black market." It's like, but wait a second. It's an open source thing. They can track. The whole point of Bitcoin is every single Bitcoin ever transferred is tracked and verified 1,000 times. So you might not know whose wallet it is, but you know where it came. You could trace every Bitcoin back to its origin. That's the whole point of the system.
right, that's the blood coins.
At some point
in time, the blood coins are going to be worth less than the coins that are being mined over here in the United States or Canada or the other countries.
And they can't go retroactive on that. They've got to just call a date, like, whatever, January 1st, 2024, from this date forward, like blood coins involved in illicit activity from this day forward. Because if you go backwards, then all of a sudden you have two Bitcoins. You have
right.
And how do you know which Bitcoin you
Well, supposedly, Coinbase won't sell any blood coins, so they're going back and tracing. And supposedly that's an issue with why there's a problem with transactions and stuff like that.
Well, it's going to get easier because Marathon Digital created a giant pool. All of their miners are going to be U.S. government compliant. So as soon as all the North American miners are compliant, and North America was way behind in mining Bitcoin, but with the amount of machines they've been adding the last couple years, I gotta believe we're a couple of years away from being, on even ground from Bitcoin mining standpoint, and we won't.
Well, I don't know if we'll be at even ground, but I mean, I would say more like 60-40 or 80-20 probably.
Even if it's 70-30, we're producing a substantial enough that even if the rest of the world's hash rate went away, we still have more than enough computing power to fuel Bitcoin. So, I mean, these guys aren't buying 10 machines or 100 machines. Marathon's buying 100,000 machines.
Did I tell you? I didn't even tell you this. That lady finally did the order on Alibaba, and I didn't catch it.
No.
But there was going to be no warranty on the machines. The machines were used. They were going to show us a picture showing it worked, but they said that they were having a problem shipping them, and half of them didn't come up work. But they wanted 200 grand. Here's 200 grand, and and I trust me, it was really tempting.
They're getting expensive. I saw one of the publicly traded companies buy 2,200 machines at an average price of $7,000 a machine. That was $2,000 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So now even in bulk orders of thousands of machines, it's up to 7,000.
So yeah, if you guys are looking for machines, I know somebody has them. He's a Canadian fella. His name's Bob.
I hear, I can't verify this, but I hear his machines are 10,000 times better than everybody else's machines.
Right. They consume half the electric.
Actually, they give back electric.
They give back electric. You use these and they give back, and they have a higher hash rate.
That's right.
Right? But he's selling them because he doesn't know how to plug them in.
Oh, he's got his first shipment coming. That's what I heard anyway.
Yeah, 3 years. You know what's really sad? He could be the dumbest person in the world. You want to know why?
Why?
Because if 3 years ago when he started doing this, if he would have just focused on mining instead of anything else.
Seriously. He
would be so wealthy right now. Even if he could get these machines to kind of work, you know what I mean?
Who knows if he even has one machine that works?
Yeah.
There's a lot of scammers
I was thinking about
out there.
That guy could be the stupidest person in the freaking world. You know that?
It always makes me wonder, like all these guys that make and sell these machines, and a lot of them are starting to keep some of them. And it's a new phenomenon because a year ago, Bitcoin wasn't worth anything.
Right.
So there was it wasn't an issue. You would sell the machines and make way more money. But now, I don't even know why somebody would make and sell a machine.
Yeah, I know.
Even if Bitcoin never goes up from here and just stays here.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I would sell another machine, number one. And number two, I'd have it at an auction. I would not.
Oh.
I would not be selling these things without an auction.
Sell them in lots of 1,000.
Yep.
At an auction.
Or no, 100. Be nice.
Okay, 100. If the lower you sell the lot at, the more you're going to get.
Yeah.
Is the reality. People will probably pay 15 or 20
No,
grand.
because I bet you even that 7,000, I bet you that would have went for 85 to 9,000 easily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But 7's astronomical. This is the identical machine they were selling for like $1,500 6 months ago. So their cost hasn't changed.
Yeah, that has. COVID's been rough on the whole planet, Tom.
Yes, I'm sure their cost is up 4,000%.
Now, did you hear about the copper shortage?
No.
Now there's a copper shortage, then there's a plastic shortage. I forgot what it was. There was something else, another major shortage. I just found all the appliances for the house I'm building, and hey, I'm not questioning how she got them.
I was gonna say you're lucky because I don't know anybody else who can find appliances right now.
$2,000. Sorry, they're working on a wrong property. It's like I'm sitting in one of the other properties, and it's like, if it wasn't where it's located, I'm in the middle of a forest right now, guys.
Oh yeah, you're not at the beach.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a forest. And what's crazy about this It's in Gwinnett County, which is like one of the largest counties in Georgia. And you would never know it by looking out the front window because it's like covered in trees. I love this place. I bought it for $100,000 9 years ago.
Are you gonna sell that one?
Yeah. Do you know what the Zulu is on it?
How much?
410.
Ooh.
I know. It's like, how can you keep it?
You gotta dump it.
I love these people. Not sure if you have the right number, but I want to offer you cash for your price, for your house. Cash. I don't have the cash, but if I put your house under contract, I'm going to make a butt ton of money, and I'm going to flip it. It says it right here. I'm going to flip it to somebody else, and then I'm going to try to make $100,000, and I'm going to screw your life up. That's another thing we should do, Tom. I didn't even think about that. We should have a channel of somehow or another to reach out to people because, dude, the last thing they want to do is talk to one of these yahoos trying to sell their house.
This whole, because that's when things went off the rails last time, is when people were buying houses that didn't even have the money to buy a house, but they thought they were just going to flip it before it ever closed and make a bunch of money in the middle.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's not good.
No, it's not good at all. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I watched it on YouTube, but it was an MSNBC clip on how they think Miami could become like the financial and tech hub in the future.
Well, they just said that Florida is going to become the next New York.
Yeah.
And I was just like, please don't screw up another state.
Yeah, well, exactly. What exactly do they mean by the next New York? Do they mean the next New York City because it's a financial hub, or do they mean the next New York because we're going to go bankrupt?
In Georgia, and pay the same amount of money and have your own house and not have people on top of your head and below your head and worrying about parking on the street and then which side of the road are you on? Are you going to get a ticket or not?
This is a byproduct of the pandemic because everybody learned, wait a second, I don't even need to be at my office. So why does everybody have to pile on top of each other?
Yeah, but I think also you're looking at the politics and, I love helping people out. You know me, I love helping people out. And, because, dude, we all get knocked down in life. We all do. I don't care who you are, economic, whatever. We all get knocked down. And being in the reason this country is great is because when people get knocked down, they get a hand up to get better. And I mean, trust me, I know there's circumstances. I could tell you stories in my life how I was wrong and how the government or whoever was against me, right? It just makes it that much better when you become successful. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah,
I mean, here's a little education. Hopefully people are still listening and didn't turn away. And I know Steven's gonna cut this up, and this would be more for Steven's benefit than anybody else. And here it is. You ready? If you believe it in your heart and you visualize it and you write it down, and this is what I did when I was not successful. Every day, I remember I said, if I could only save $1,000, I'd be so rich. And I would write it. I'd take a shower every morning and I would write it on the wall. And I didn't have a glass shower. I just had tile. I mean, you couldn't even see it. You couldn't see it, but it was the visualization that I did. Quick, Tom, how many zeros in $1 billion?
9.
Yeah, see, it didn't take me that long to answer that. I know it's 9. Okay, and I know, so, that's how I started. And I mean, when you believe in yourself and and you start saying, hey, I'm going to do this, you do it. And because that's your body aligns to that process that you have. And that's why I don't want anybody, hating life and being negative. And I'm not saying it's easy because it's capitalism. They don't want it to be easy, but it's the best gift you could ever give yourself is to become successful. Find a niche, whatever it is, cleaning gas cans. Have you heard about this? Not gas cans, trash cans, cleaning trash cans. There's a company out there you could take and go get trash cans. I think it costs $5,000 to start. You put in the back of a pickup. They come in, and they make $20 or $10 or whatever it is.
Like they clean your trash can?
Yeah,
Like your dumpster, like your at your
no,
house?
like the little toter you bring out to the side of the road.
Yeah.
You know how it gets disgusting?
Yeah.
They have a little thing that cleans the inside of them.
Man.
And everybody and their brother does it because everybody hates their freaking. And what they do is they make a deal. So now think about this. They make a deal with an HOA, okay?
Yeah, that's how to do it. Then you get
and you
to
make
do
a deal.
500 of them.
Right, and you do right, and they just go boom, 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 right down the road, right when they're out, and then you get a nice clean trash can.
Let's do that.
It's great though. People love it though. I mean, because it's a smelly ass trash can.
Right. Well, if you can find a way to get the HOA to work that into the dues and get it paid that way, then you could kill it.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to go one by one and get.
Yeah, I know. And and they have this thing where you got to get all the garbage. You got to. I'm sure it kicks a lot of garbage. Because there's those papers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you almost have to have a dump truck.
Yeah, from all the beer. But yeah, people forget that. And I think there's one thing I'm learning about being back up here is that you, even if you have a cash cow, you still have to focus on it at some point in time.
Right.
Even if you have, I follow the GM matrix. And even if you have something that you have to spend a percentage of your business thinking about it, doing it, and acting on it, or it will fall apart.
Yeah, you got to keep your eyes on your fries.
Yep. It's all right. You got anything else? What's your prediction?
Bitcoin is absolutely stuck in the mud. Ethereum is absolutely on fire. It's basically doubled in 2 weeks. And the stock market, all the stocks everybody's interested in are still struggling. I think there's a bunch later this week. I think we should give some stock recommendations to add to people's watch list because there's.
What is it? May? You're supposed to sell in May or whatever.
Sell in May and go away, but everybody already sold in March and April, so I think there's some stuff. It's about time to buy in May. I'll tell you one right now, just to end things up. There's a company called Palantir, ticker PLTR. They report earnings tomorrow. I'm hoping that they disappoint and the stock gets beaten down. This stock has been thrashed, and this is, in my opinion, not
financial advice.
This is not. We are not financial advisors. This isn't financial advice. My personal opinion is this company they're getting contracts. They get government contracts. Look into what they do. They've got pipelines of contracts coming that are insane. So if by chance they miss, even some of these companies that are hitting expectations are getting crushed on earnings calls. So if that happens to get crushed on earnings calls, if you see Palantir, it's already under $20. So do your due diligence. That's my watch list of the day. Palantir, PLTR.
What about your Bitcoins companies?
Bitfarm. Bitfarm just had a giant jump last week, and they got some good news that's not done yet. They got approved to get listed on the NASDAQ. So they were up like 25% on Friday, but they haven't actually gotten listed yet. There's a couple of little hoops they have to jump through. Once they get listed, I would expect that there's the potential for a lot more upside, because if you compare them, they do roughly the same amount of business, actually a little more than Marathon and.
Did you say more?
At the moment, they do.
Right, but they probably don't have as many coins.
They don't have as many coins sitting on the sidelines, but they have a higher hash rate than both of those guys, and they're going to remain competitive. Marathon looks like they're going to pull ahead of everybody, but those guys are going to be the top three, and Bitfarm is worth 1/3 or 1/4 of what those guys are worth. So if they're all the same, and Bitcoin's got their listing up and running, and they've got their options going, that's an important thing people don't realize. Options are not just for buying and selling to make money on, they're insurance. So if you can, once you can buy Bitfarm and buy some insurance on it in the form of options, I think there's massive upside on that thing. Out of all of them, that one, I feel like it's their turn. They're going to go.
I hope so, because we're heavily invested. But if I didn't have it, my stock portfolio would look awful right now.
Oh yes, that's all it takes is that's the first one to jump. We'll always talk about the miners. I think their time is coming big time. They've been suppressed beyond belief, and even if Bitcoin is proved, even if it doesn't go up in the short term, it's proved this 58,000 mark. It's been there for 3 months. I mean,
it's proving that it's not a fluke. Yep.
Right. It's not all of a sudden going to be 20,000. The question is it going to be 58,000 or 78,000? In my opinion, not. So.
That is the question.
We will see.
All right, brother. Well, have a good day, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. See ya.
See you.